Hello people, I'm the Real Comic Book Gamer, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Last Jedi. Now this is going to be a spoiler-free review, so I won't be spoiling anything in this review. Later on I'll do a spoiler talk, because it's definitely needed, because in this review I'm going to be very vague. I'm not going to be able to talk about much, because I don't want to spoil anything for you guys. So anyways, let's get into it. So, The Last Jedi, there's a lot of things to talk about here. Like I said, I'm going to have to be very vague. But let's start out with the humor in the movie, because it continues that Force Awakens sort of Joss Whedon style humor that I'm not the biggest fan of, and I don't think jokes fit in Star Wars. I mean, like, intentional jokes, because I feel like in, say, the original trilogy, a lot of stuff that was funny wasn't jokes. It was stuff that, like, if you were there in that world, you would not be laughing at it. Like, say, in Return of the Jedi, when Han is just becoming unblinded at the Sarlacc pit, and he's about to shoot the Sarlacc's, like, tentacle to free Lando, and Lando's like, no, I thought you were blind. He's like, no, it's okay, I can see a lot better now. That's not a joke. Han's like, legit, yeah, I can see better now, you'll be fine. From the outside looking in, though, that's funny, but if you were there in that world, you would not be laughing, to where, in this, like, on the outside looking in, it's funny, and then if you were actually in the world, it would be funny too, because it's like an actual joke. Someone, like, says a joke and just waits, like, that's basically what it is. There's a lot of that. It's not as bad in this movie as it was in The Force Awakens with, like, droid please, and you got a boyfriend, cute boyfriend, stuff like that, which is just so stupid. I felt like what was better in this one was I just think the writing was better in terms of the jokes actually landed a lot more in this. Like, that would happen, that would be actually funny. So I think that was better, but there were some times where the humor took me out of it. It's like, why? There's just, yeah, just intentional jokes where, like, the characters are telling jokes. That's not really needed in a Star Wars film, and it stands out a lot. It stands out like a sore thumb. Unlike, say, like when Han Solo was funny in the original trilogy, like I said, it's a lot more stuff that was accidentally funny. Like, from the outside looking in, it's funny, but if you were in that world, it would not be funny at all. So yeah, I have a big problem with the humor there. But overall, the humor wasn't too terrible in this. It wasn't near as bad as The Force Awakens. But yeah, so let's talk about the action now, because I heard a lot of stuff going in this movie that it just had some of the best action scenes in any Star Wars movie. In actuality, it has maybe two cool action scenes. It has one really dope one that's awesome. It's really cool, and I loved it. And it doesn't happen until like halfway through the movie. So up until then, that's also a problem with the movie, is pacing. There's a lot of, like, just stuff that you don't care about happening, and it has a problem with split up storylines. There's a lot of different storylines that you don't care about. There's Poe and the Rebellion, then there's like Kylo and, in the First Order, then there's Rey and Luke, and then there's also there's Finn and Rose. And honestly, they should have just had it be, they should have just had the main storylines be Rey and Luke, and then Kylo in the First Order, and Snoke. That's what it should have been. That should have been the two main ones, and the other ones, we didn't need near as much screen time as we got. Granted, I liked Poe in this movie. I liked him a lot better than the first one. The first one I thought he was rather generic, but at least they give him a storyline that's kind of interesting, because he's sort of learning from it, because he's like a gun, basically. You point him and shoot, and that's what Poe is. So in this, he's learning to be something more than that and trying to, like, become a leader, and I actually like Poe a lot more in this. I like the way he was used. But then, like, the Finn and Rose stuff, I'm just going to say it, if Rose wasn't in this movie, the movie would be objectively better. It just would be a better movie without Rose. Rose adds nothing good to this movie. All she does is take away. There's nothing where I was like, oh, I'm glad she's in the movie. Every time, just there's something where I was like, why is she in this movie? I just wish she wasn't here. She took away from scenes. There's a lot of stuff that she takes away. Finn is better in this movie. I feel like this movie improved on every single character in The Force Awakens a lot. Finn, in the beginning, he's sort of the bumbling idiot that we know from the last one, which I hated, because in The Force Awakens, I was excited for Finn because he had a cool setup, but then the execution of it was just absolutely terrible, and he was just a bumbling idiot. That's all he was throughout the entire first one. He's just like, oh, I'm just this bumbling idiot. Oh, no, I don't know what a screwdriver looks like. Rey's got to tell me what a screwdriver is, or whatever it was, like the space equivalent of a screwdriver. He's an idiot in the first one. In this, in the beginning he is, and then he slowly comes to, like, not being an actual idiot, and I started to like Finn, and then there's one scene where I really liked Finn, but then it gets derailed. And that's a big part of this movie, is one step forward, one step back. That's a big part of it, because there'll be something really cool that happens in the next scene, just diminishes it. It just derails it. It's like, oh, that sucks. Why'd you have to ruin this cool thing? Why'd you have to ruin something that I liked? It's like, oh, I like what's happening here, and okay, no, that just ruined that. There's a lot of that in this movie, to where it just evened out, where it's like 50-50. And that really rubbed me the wrong way. But anyways, back to action, like I was talking about. I heard so many great things about action going into this movie. There's only like really one awesome action scene. Then there's one towards the end that's kind of cool, but that's like it. None of the space battles really hit me where I was like, that's awesome. There wasn't really any big infantry battles or anything that were really cool. There wasn't that good of action. And then the story itself, like I said, it's very split up, and there's some stuff I like, and there's some stuff that I don't. I liked most of the stuff having to do with Rey, Luke, and Kylo and Snoke. I liked most of that stuff. But the problem is, that's like maybe half of the movie, because the rest of the movie is split up with other stuff. Like, it's split up with Poe and Finn and Rose. Like, Finn and Rose's story is just so stupid. I hate it. There's no point in it. And also, Benicio del Toro in the movie, just no. I don't care about Benicio del Toro's character in this movie at all. He's not even in it very much, but just, yeah. And also, Benicio del Toro decided to add, like, a stutter to his character, or maybe they told him to do it. I don't know. Either way, I think it was a bad character choice, and it distracted from the movie. So, yeah, that was just whatever. And again, I like Poe, but then like the rest of the rebellion I don't really care about. When they were in that stuff, Leia was good. I liked Leia, but I will say, Carrie Fisher did much better in this than she did in The Force Awakens, because in The Force Awakens it was like, yeah, we got Princess Leia back, but Carrie Fisher felt rusty, in my opinion, in that movie. But in this, she's much better, and I really enjoyed Carrie Fisher in this movie. And that's most of the acting in this movie. Like, Adam Driver is amazing. He kills it. Daisy Ridley does pretty good. Mark Hamill is fantastic. Mark Hamill did, like, hit it out of the park with Luke. And, yeah, let's talk about Luke real quick. So, I really enjoyed Luke in this movie, because mainly of Mark Hamill's performance. The writing for Luke was okay. I don't really blame them for the stuff that I didn't like that much, because of the fact that they didn't have a whole lot to work with. I wasn't a fan with the path that The Force Awakens set Luke up on, so I feel like Rian Johnson kind of did like the best he could with how they set it up, because how they set it up was just so stupid and un-Luke-like. The fact that he had one bad day and he's like, I'm just gonna quit. Unlike all the tons of bad days he had before that where terrible things happened. Now another terrible thing happened. Luke's like, oh, time for the Jedi in. Like, I'm not a fan. I don't think that lines up with Luke's character at all. But that being said, I think Rian Johnson did a decent job with him. There's some really stupid stuff with him, but for the most part, I like the portrayal of Luke in this. Kylo was great. I really liked Kylo. I would say for like maybe the first half of the movie, I really like Kylo, and then like he kind of just gets like, like he kind of just gets thrown away. He's just kind of there, and he's like there to be like emotional and stuff. It's like, man, same thing sort of happened in The Force Awakens, where like I really like Kylo, and then it gets the interrogation scene, and I'm like, ugh, I don't care about Kylo at all. This movie, I really like Kylo, and then stuff happens, and then there's like nothing to Kylo anymore. And Rey, I liked a lot better in this movie. I hated her in the first movie, but in this movie, there's like she actually makes sense, because her whole thing is, this isn't a spoiler or anything because it's in the trailer, that, you know, she goes to Luke's island, and she's trying to get him to join the Resistance, to help the Resistance, and he's, you know, being an old hermit man and doesn't want to join. And so you see her purpose and what she's trying to do, and like you see why she's trying to do it, to where like in the first movie it was just, we need to go back to Jakku, and then along the way of her complaining about going back to Jakku, she just kicked everyone's ass. It's different in this one, and Rey has an interesting story, and I thought Rey was decent in this movie. I'm still not her biggest fan, but a huge improvement over the first movie. Like I said, pretty much every character, except for actually BB-8, was improved on this movie. I don't really say much about BB-8, but BB-8 is used as a way to get characters out of tough situations too many times in this movie. Way too many times. Like, oh, this character's in this situation, oh, BB-8 did something, okay. And that happens like 4 or 5 times maybe. It's ridiculous, but yeah. Not much more else I can really say without spoiling stuff. Oh yeah, Porgs. Let's talk about Porgs real quick. I really like the Porgs. They're actually handled really well. They're not the Jar Jars of this movie like some people were thinking they might be. The Porgs are actually really good. But anyways, now there's not really much else to talk about without spoiling stuff. So I will do a spoiler review in the future. Like, I don't know if I'll see the movie a second time first or what before I do my spoiler review. We'll see. But yeah, so overall, Last Jedi, I'm not a big fan of. I was very disappointed. It's better than The Force Awakens, but that's not saying much, because I was not a fan of The Force Awakens. I'd say, like, coming out of the theater, the one word I used the most, and that I said the one word I'd use to describe it is okay, because that's what the movie is. it's okay. Like I said, one step forward, one step back is a huge part of this movie, because there's some stuff that's really cool, and then there's some stuff that's incredibly stupid that made me facepalm, where I was just like, what the, why? There's a lot of that. And then there's just a lot of stuff that, like, okay, don't care, don't really feel strongly one way or the other. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's really stupid. Okay, don't care, don't care. And that's how the movie goes a lot. There's just a lot of, like, I don't really hate this, but I don't love it either. Oh, that's stupid. I hate that. Oh, I love that. Okay, don't hate this or love this. And that's how a lot of the movie goes. And that's how I feel. And yeah, the story just had a lot of issues. Pacing had issues. And they could have just cut a lot of stuff out of this movie. There's a lot of stuff that I was asking myself, who thought this was a good idea? When something would happen on screen, I was like, who was like, that was a good idea? But anyways, that's my thoughts on Star Wars Last Jedi. Please let me know in the comments below, what did you think of The Last Jedi? Don't spoil anything, though. Please save your spoiler thoughts for my spoiler review. And if you have not seen the movie, don't look in the comments, because someone probably will spoil it. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys later.
Yeah. On my grind all day, gonna make $1 million selling that someday. You know I'm in the rhythm when I write this way. Put me in the pound when I bite this game, Bitch, I'm an animal, eating these rappers, I swear I'm a cannibal.